Chapter 2884. The desolate mountain range had an extremely powerful domain. The closer one was to the front, the stronger the domain. Hence, to enter the desolate mountain range, one had to enter from the back. After entering the mountain range, the effect of the domain would be greatly reduced. This way, one could follow the mountain range and slowly enter the depths of the desolate mountain range. Hence, when one entered the desolate mountain range, they would enter from the back. Lu Ming's group of 8 flew in from the back. As soon as they entered the desolate mountain range, Lu Ming felt a powerful domain acting on him. It almost dragged Lu Ming down into the mountain range. They quickly circulated their divine power to resist the domain and slowly landed on the ground. Roar. As soon as they landed, there was a loud roar. It was a desolate beast. There were many desolate beasts living in the desolate mountain range. Some of them were very strong. However, this one was only a level 9 true god. A mere true god wants to sneak up on me? You're courting death. The bewitching woman shouted coldly. A sword gleam flashed and the wild beast was split into 2 halves. Thereafter, she cast a cold glance at Lu Ming, as if to say that it was useless to see it. A true god realm was so weak. Lu Ming could not be bothered with this woman. In Lu Ming's heart, this woman was a fool. Being ignored by Lu Ming, the seductive lady's eyes flashed coldly. A mere true god dared to ignore her. He really did not know his place. Follow me, Sankyu said and then walked in a direction. The group followed Sankyu forward. Along the way, they were attacked by desolate beasts from time to time. However, the desolate beasts here were not very high level. Most of them were below the heavenly god realm. There were not many heavenly gods. To Lu Ming and the rest, they were not a threat and were easily killed. After half a day, they were already a few million miles into the desolate mountain range. At this point, the domain of the desolate mountain range was already very strong. The pressure was getting stronger. Not to mention flying, it was difficult to even circulate divine power here. At this moment, they came to a huge valley. At this point, Sankyu suddenly stopped. Sankyu, why aren't you moving? Do you know where the heart of desolation is? A burly man asked. Here. Sankyu laughed strangely as his gaze swept past Lu Ming and the others, and he said, I don't know where the heart of chaos is, but I know that all of you are about to die. Hee hee. Among the 7 people, except for Lu Ming, the expressions of the others changed. Sankyu, what do you mean by that? What do you want? The seductive woman glared at Sankyu. What are you doing? Very simple. Hand over all the treasures on you and I can leave your corpses intact. Otherwise, I can only feed you to the desolate beasts. Sankyu sneered. Sankyu, sure enough, you didn't bring us here with good intentions. However, you think that you can kill us? That's ridiculous. A big man said coldly, his body giving off a powerful aura. Level 4 Heavenly God. This burly man was a 4th level celestial god, which was even higher than Sank's 3rd level celestial god. The burly man's powerful aura pressed down on Sankyu, but Sank's expression didn't change at all. Instead, the killing intent in his eyes intensified. Come out! Sankyu yelled. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Following Sank's voice, a few figures suddenly dashed out from the valley. There were 11 figures in total. Their speed was shocking as they surrounded Lu Ming and his crew in just a few flashes. Sankyu, you've set up an ambush here. You've set us up. Damn it. The seductive woman, the burly man, and the others yelled in astonishment. At this point, no matter how stupid they were, they understood what was going on. Sankyu had asked them to team up with him to set them up. He had planned it all along. He had asked the others to set up an ambush here to rob them of their treasures. They had been tricked. It's him. Lu Ming wore a calm expression, but his eyes flickered with murderous intent when he saw one of the burly men. The burly man was the one who had attacked Lu Ming's galaxy battleship. He was the one who had attacked Lu Ming's galaxy battleship. Lu Ming was not too bothered at the time, but he did not expect to stumble into the burly man again, who was trying to rob him together with Sankyu and his crew. He could not help but say that enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Hand over your treasures, so we won't have to do it ourselves. Sankyu said with a hollow laugh. However, no one dared to move. Who would hand over their treasures so easily? Why are we wasting our time talking to them? Let's just kill them to prevent any unexpected events from happening. The burly man who had attacked Lu Ming before snapped coldly and unleashed a powerful aura. The burly man was also a 4th-layer Heaven God Realm cultivator. As a matter of fact, there were 6 4th-layer Heaven Gods among the group. Meanwhile, Lu Ming's crew only had 1 4th-layer Heaven God Realm cultivator. The difference was too huge. You want me to hand over my treasures? In your dreams. On Lu Ming's side, the 4th-layer Heaven God yelled and dashed to the side with all his might. Bang! He blasted out with a fist, his aura exploding as he crushed forward. He wanted to carve out a bloody path to escape. You're courting death. A few experts on the other side yelled and attacked the burly man at the same time. These people were all 4th-layer celestial gods. They worked together to attack the burly man, using terrifying killing moves. The burly man was no match for the 3 of them. 2 of the attacks landed on the burly man, who let out a cry of agony and was sent flying. He spat out mouthfuls of blood and was half dead. The seductive woman and her crew were as pale as snow, without a trace of blood. Even the strongest among them was almost killed by a single move. They were even more hopeless now. Many of them wore looks of despair. Brother Sankyu, brothers, as long as you don't kill me, I'll agree to anything you want. The seductive woman wore a seductive smile as she twisted her slender waist seductively and glanced at Sankyu and his crew. Bitch, piss off. Your move is useless against us. Attack, kill them. Sankyu snapped coldly. In their line of work, they would never leave anyone alive. It was useless no matter how seductive the woman was. Bang! Bang! Sankyu and his crew made their moves. Kid, I'll be the first to send you on your way. Sank's eyes flickered coldly as he stared at Lu Ming. He was the first to charge at Lu Ming. His blood-red claws were grabbing at Lu Ming's heart. However, after a flash of cold light, Sank's body stiffened. His eyes widened in disbelief. That was because his heart had been pierced through by a spear. Of course, Lu Ming was the one who stabbed the spear. Chapter 2885. You, Sankyu stared at Lu Ming in disbelief, before wearing a terrified expression. He never thought that Lu Ming, who was only a 9th-layer true God Realm cultivator, would be so fast. He did not even see how Lu Ming attacked. Lu Ming's spear had already pierced through his heart. He knew that he had encountered a terrifying genius, a genius whose battle prowess could not be measured by his cultivation level. Spare me. Sankyu was bleeding profusely as he begged Lu Ming for mercy. Be on your way, Lu Ming said coldly. With a shudder of his spear, Sank's body was torn into pieces, dying on the spot. Kid, you're courting death. The bulky man who attacked Lu Ming's warship roared and charged at Lu Ming. His aura of the 4th-layer Heaven God Realm surged at Lu Ming, trying to kill Lu Ming. Godly dragon image, Lu Ming uttered in a deep voice. Following this, 2 9-clawed dragons appeared in the sky. The 9-clawed dragons lunged at the bulky man. The 2 9-clawed dragons had a total of 18 claws, tearing through the sky with shocking power. The bulky man's expression changed rapidly. His palm turned pitch black as he slashed at the claws of the 9-clawed dragons. Bang! 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 Terrifying collisions took place continuously. In just an instant, they had exchanged more than 10 blows. The bulky man's expression changed tremendously as he was knocked back while vomiting blood. He was severely injured. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, even if he did not transform into the ancient god flesh, the battle character art alone was enough to amplify his strength by 4 times. It was not something that the bulky man could resist. Roar! Roar! The 2 9-clawed dragons roared and continued to lunge at each other, tearing the bulky man into pieces. How is this possible? Lu Ming had killed 2 experts in a row, and the others were finally shocked. They cried out in alarm one after another, their faces full of disbelief. Originally, when they saw that Lu Ming was only at true God Realm cultivation base, they did not place Lu Ming in their eyes at all. At this moment, Lu Ming erupted with unimaginable battle prowess, causing them to be incomparably terrified. Okay. The seductive woman and the others were at a loss for words at first, but they were soon overjoyed. Lu Ming actually had such strong combat strength. They were saved. Kill. Lu Ming changed his direction and roared. Another 9-clawed dragon appeared in the air. A total of 3 9-clawed dragons pounced towards the others. At the same time, Lu Ming brandished his long spear and used the 3 strikes of annihilation to attack another person. Puff. The crescent-shaped spear light slashed down, splitting a 4th-level celestial god into 2. Then, the 3 9-clawed dragon worked together to kill the other 4th-level celestial god. It was a complete suppression. Go quickly. The others turned pale with fright and frantically retreated, running for their lives in all directions. Lu Ming charged forward and killed another 2 people. He did not continue to pursue them. Soon, those people disappeared into the vast mountains. The seductive woman and the others looked at Lu Ming with eyes full of shock and horror. They knew that they had encountered a peerless genius. Lu Ming, thank you for your help just now. I can't thank you enough. The few of them thanked Lu Ming one after another. Lu Ming, you're really amazing. Sister had misjudged you previously. Sister apologizes to you. The seductive woman's gaze turned and smiled sweetly. She swayed her slender waist and walked towards Lu Ming. She even threw a flirtatious glance at Lu Ming, as if she was going to seduce Lu Ming. Lu Ming glanced at the other party indifferently. He was too lazy to say anything and turned around to leave. This woman had a snobbish look. Previously, when she saw that Lu Ming was only in the true god realm, she mocked and ridiculed him. Now that she saw Lu Ming's shocking strength, she immediately threw herself at Lu Ming. It could be said that she was extremely shameless. Brother Lu Ming, where are you going? Sister will go with you. The seductive woman immediately followed Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming turned around and shouted coldly. His eyes were sharp and emitted a cold, murderous intent. The seductive woman turned pale with fright and stopped in her tracks, not daring to come closer. Lu Ming's figure flashed and turned into a ray of light, leaving the place. This Lu Ming must be an exceptional genius from the Qin Tian 13 sects, or even the 3 overlords. We misjudged him previously. That's right. Such people have high standards. You want to seduce someone like you? You're delusional. The others looked at the seductive woman with ridicule, making her feel so ashamed that she was about to bleed. After Lu Ming set off alone, he headed towards the depths of the chaotic Desolation mountain range. Along the way, there were no mishaps. Soon, Lu Ming was halfway into the chaotic Desolation mountain range. At this moment, Lu Ming noticed that there were people rushing in a certain direction. Lu Ming's eyes moved and he followed in that direction. After flying for a while, a lake appeared in front of him. There were many people gathered around the lake. Everyone was staring at the lake. Could it be that the heart of desolation is here? Lu Ming pondered. Splash. The lake water rolled and waves surged, creating 1,000 layers of waves. Then, a shocking scene appeared. Suddenly, a violent explosion erupted from the bottom of the lake, causing the entire lake's water to be blasted into the sky. The lake water splashed everywhere, revealing a dark cave underneath. Rumble. Under the cave, tentacles suddenly stretched out. However, these tentacles were not the tentacles of living creatures. They were formed by energy. After waving them, they looked like paths in the sky. There were a total of 81 paths. This is the path of vitality. The heart of desolation is inside. Only by stepping on the path of vitality can one enter the cave and obtain the heart of desolation. Someone shouted. The heart of desolation is mine. Let's go. Immediately, someone rushed towards the path of vital energy and landed steadily on it. Why? Why can't I step on it? I can't either. I understand now. A path of vitality can only accommodate one person. Once one person steps on it, the other person can't go on. Someone noticed something fishy. Once one person stepped onto the path of origin chi, if the others wanted to continue, they would be blocked by a powerful force, blocking them outside the path of origin chi. A path of vitality could only accommodate one person. There were a total of 81 paths and only 81 people could enter the cave. However, there were a few thousand people here. Among the few thousand people, only 81 people could enter. After figuring this out, everyone's eyes were burning with passion. Then, they attacked one after another. This path is mine. Get lost. Someone erupted with power, unleashing a powerful attack, attacking the person who stepped on that path. Although they couldn't enter, they could attack from the outside without any hindrance. Ah! A scream was heard. On one of the path of vitality, a person with a lower cultivation base was killed directly. Blood splattered on the path of vitality. Chapter 2886. A chaotic battle broke out. Thousands of people dashed towards the 81 paths of origin chi and started a bloody battle. Get lost, this path is mine. You're the one who should get lost, die. The heart of desolation was extremely precious. Many people's eyes turned red as they dashed towards the 81 paths of origin chi. Blood splattered everywhere as cries of agony were heard. A large number of True God Realm experts died in an instant. The remaining True God Realm experts finally came to their senses and retreated in fear, withdrawing from the battle. They understood that they couldn't compete with the heavenly gods with their cultivation base. Otherwise, death would be the only outcome. However, there were still many heavenly gods. The battle became even more intense. However, some of them had extremely high cultivation bases, reaching the 7th layer heavenly god realm. 7th layer heavenly gods were definitely the strongest among these people. Their god force was like a tidal wave. With a single punch, several people were killed. No one could stop them. There were more than a dozen of them, occupying more than 10 paths of origin chi. In addition, some 6th layer heavenly gods were extremely terrifying. They suppressed the crowd and occupied some paths of origin chi. The strongest competitors were those at the 5th and 4th level of the heavenly god realm. There were many of them, more than 81 of them. They knew that they couldn't win against those at the 6th and 7th level of the heavenly god realm. Therefore, they gathered at the other paths, and the competition was intense. Lu Ming didn't make a move at first. After a while, he flew towards one of the paths of origin chi. This True God Realm kid dares to go up, he's courting death. His greed is too strong, he won't live for long. Some True God Realm experts saw Lu Ming and mocked him, as if they were waiting to watch a good show. Lu Ming's speed was extremely fast. He had already arrived at the entrance of one of the paths of origin chi. A True God Realm kid dares to join in the fun, he's courting death. A heavenly God Realm man threw a punch at Lu Ming, creating a terrifying whistling sound. Get lost. Lu Ming coldly shouted, activating the battle secret art to increase his battle prowess by 4 times. His long spear trembled, and he thrust it towards his opponent. When the spear collided with the opponent's fist, an intense explosion rang out. The burly man's fist energy was instantly destroyed. His body violently trembled, and he retreated, coughing up large mouthfuls of blood. How is this possible? The others were dumbfounded. Especially those True God Realm people who mocked Lu Ming, they were even more dumbfounded. This brat, a True God Realm, actually has such powerful strength. Kill him first. An old man shouted loudly and charged towards Lu Ming, his aura berserk. This person was shockingly a 5th level heavenly god. Get lost, get lost. Lu Ming shouted as he stepped forward. With each step, a 9-clawed dragon would appear above his head. After 3 steps, 3 9-clawed dragons had appeared above his head. The 3 9-clawed dragons roared furiously as they charged towards their opponent. At the same time, 9 ice chains appeared on Lu Ming's body, wrapping around his opponent and emitting a shocking chill. Before transforming into his ancient god body, Lu Ming had to use all his strength against a 5th level heavenly god. World extinguishing 3 strikes, moon slashing. Holding the spear with both hands, he threw out 3 consecutive strikes. 3 crescent-shaped spear lights slashed towards his opponent. Boom, boom, boom. The two clashed, and an intense battle ensued. For a moment, it was difficult for them to split their attention. However, The others took the opportunity to rush towards the path of origin chi. Brat, I won't fight with you anymore. The old man exchanged a blow with Lu Ming, and his figure retreated, heading towards a path of origin chi. Lu Ming also followed, joining the others in a chaotic battle. This path had 3 5th-level heavenly gods, 4 4th-level heavenly gods, and Lu Ming. The 8 of them fought fiercely. Those below the 4th-level heavenly god realm were not strong enough to join the battle. The 8 of them fought in a chaotic battle. A few 4th-level heavenly gods could still hold on for a while, but soon, they could not hold on any longer. One of them was struck in the vitals by a 5th-level heavenly god realm expert, dying on the spot. Moon slashing. Lu Ming threw out a blow, severely injuring a 4th-level heavenly god realm expert. The remaining 4th-level heavenly gods retreated with a solemn expression. Only 3 4th-level heavenly gods were left on this path, including Lu Ming, and they were still fighting. Lu Ming did not plan to use his ancient god body. The ancient god body was his trump card, and he could not use it easily. After all, there would definitely be more terrifying battles on this path of origin chi. If they really encountered the heart of chaos, a bloody battle would be unavoidable. Lu Ming only used various skills, the ice shackles, and the godly dragon aspect technique to fight against the enemies. Such a battle consumed a lot of their god force. After exchanging more than 100 blows, the others were running out of god force, but Lu Ming was still full of energy. Lu Ming gradually gained the upper hand. Meanwhile, the 7th and 6th level heavenly gods had already entered the depths of the cave. The other 3 were starting to get anxious. This kid is too strange. He has such a strong god force with only the cultivation of the true god realm. Why don't the 3 of us team up and take him down, then decide the winner? The other 3 5th-level heavenly gods planned to team up to deal with Lu Ming first. The 3 of them had the same idea. They immediately joined forces and attacked Lu Ming. I was planning to save my trump card, but I'll fulfill your wish now. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. His body began to expand rapidly. Lu Ming began to execute the ancient god technique to transform into the ancient god flesh. However, Lu Ming did not fully execute the ancient god technique, nor did he transform into a cyan-armored ancient god. He only transformed into the 2nd level, the orange-armored ancient god. His height was only around 30 meters. This way, he could save a lot of energy. Even after transforming into an orange-armored ancient god, Lu Ming's strength skyrocketed. He swung his spear and sent a 5th-level heavenly god flying. Kill. Lu Ming took big strides forward and charged toward the elder. His violent attacks were like a storm, pouring down on the elder. How is this possible? The old man was shocked. He tried his best to defend himself, but he could not stop Lu Ming. After barely managing to defend himself, Lu Ming killed him with a single spear strike. Following this, Lu Ming attacked the other 2. The other 2 turned pale with fright, not daring to stop Lu Ming at all. They retreated far away. Lu Ming landed on the vital chi path and strode forward. No one stopped him. This is also too strong, right? Is this still the realm of the true god realm? Those true god realm existences in the distance were all staring wide-eyed and tongue-tied, unable to react for a moment. Some people were unbelievably discouraged. Similarly, in the true god realm, the disparity between them and Lu Ming was too great. They did not know whether it was them who were too useless, or Lu Ming who was too freakish. Lu Ming could not be bothered with these people's thoughts. He ran at high speed, following the vital chi path, deep into the cave. Chapter 2887. After running for a while on the path of vitality, Lu Ming used the ancient god tactic to shrink his body and revert to his normal form. Maintaining the ancient god body consumed a lot of stamina. There was probably going to be a big battle later, so he needed to conserve his stamina. He did not know where the vital energy path came from. Lu Ming followed the vital energy path and walked for thousands of miles before he finally reached the end. In front of him, there was a huge bubble floating in the dark void. Tentacles extended from the bubble. These tentacles were the 81 origin chi roads under their feet. Lu Ming's eyes were instantly attracted by something in the middle of the bubble. It was a crystal that looked like a heart, emitting a bright light. The heart of desolation. Lu Ming knew that it was the heart of desolation. However, no one fought for it. Those who came in earlier than Lu Ming stood at the end of the Origin Chi Road, looking at the heart of desolation greedily. These people shouldn't be able to enter, Lu Ming pondered, but did not act rashly. However, even though Lu Ming did not move, the others did. There was a flash in the eyes of an old lady who entered at about the same time as Lu Ming. She took big strides forward and pounced toward the bubble. She wanted to dash into the bubble and grab the heart of desolation. The others watched with cold smiles on their faces. Bang! The old woman slammed into the air bubble. She slammed into it. With a scream, the old woman retreated. Her face was bruised, but her injuries were not serious. Stop dreaming. We can't enter this bubble now. One of them sneered. Why didn't you warn me? The old woman stared at that person with a gloomy face. Who do you think you are? Why should I warn you? That person sneered. You. The old woman gritted her teeth. However, her cultivation was not as good as the other party, so she did not dare to say anything. What should we do? Are we just going to look at the heart of desolation and not get it? Someone frowned. The heart of desolation has appeared before. I saw it recorded in an ancient book. At this moment, a white-haired old man spoke. You've seen the records, then do you know how to obtain the heart of chaos? Someone's eyes lit up as he looked at the white-haired old man. I do know. There's no harm in telling you. The white-haired old man smiled faintly and said, the balloon outside the heart of chaos is formed by powerful energy. Every day, the energy will extend into 81 paths of energy. Every time, only 80 people can follow the paths of energy to reach the center. Therefore, only when living beings have stepped onto all 81 paths of vitality will there be a way to obtain the heart of chaos. According to what you said, when the 81 paths of vitality are occupied, this bubble, which is the vitality morning and evening, will dissipate? Someone asked. In your dreams. Let me tell you all, not all 81 origin energy paths have people on them. You will not be able to obtain the heart of desolation. It is not that easy to break through origin energy day and night. You will still need some luck. The white-haired old man said. Why do you still need luck? Old man, can't you finish your sentence in one go? Someone said impatiently. What's the rush? Isn't there still a lot of origin energy paths that have not been reached yet? The white-haired old man replied faintly, then slowly said, if you want to break through origin energy day and night, you will need everyone to work together. Everyone on the 81 origin energy paths has to work together and pour their divine energy into origin energy day and night to activate origin energy pillars. Only by activating 999 origin energy pillars can one break through origin energy day and night. So it's that simple. I'll go first. A middle-aged man took the lead and walked to the origin energy day and night. His palm faced the origin energy day and night, and surging divine energy continuously poured into the origin energy day and night. Wang. The origin energy day and night vibrated slightly, and then a certain part of it vibrated more and more violently. In the end, a 100-meter-long origin energy pillar flew out, like a long snake dancing in the air. Again, the middle-aged man roared and continued to pour in divine energy. The origin energy day and night vibrated, and then 2 more origin energy pillars flew out. There were a total of 3 origin chi pillars, but at this point, there was no 4th origin chi pillar. Come out! Come out! The middle-aged man roared and continued to pour in divine energy, but the origin energy day and night didn't move at all. So little. Only 3. Many people looked at each other. The middle-aged man was a 6th-level celestial god, but he could only stimulate 3 origin energy pillars. This made many people's hearts sink. In order to activate the origin energy day and night, 999 origin energy pillars were required, and there were only 81 of them. Based on this ratio, it was impossible to activate the origin energy day and night. The middle-aged man's face was red with shame. I'll do it. Following that, a middle-aged woman stepped forward and inserted her god force into the morning and evening pillar. She was also a 6th-level celestial god, but even with all her might, she could only activate 3 morning and evening pillars. This made many people's faces turn even uglier. Following that, a 7th-level celestial god stepped forward, but his situation wasn't any better. He could only stimulate 5 origin energy pillars. Everyone looked at each other. Based on this ratio, even if all 81 of them stepped forward, they wouldn't be able to activate more than 300 origin energy pillars. It was impossible to activate the origin energy day and night. Sigh, as expected. From what I know, the number of origin energy pillars activated is related to one's cultivation, but it's more related to one's talent. The higher one's talent is, the more origin energy pillars they can activate. In the past, every time the Heart of Desolation appeared, people would gather in the Desolation mountain range. However, very few people were able to get it, because they couldn't open the vital energy day and night. Only after the news spread out, and the chosen from the various sects and clans joined forces, could they open the vital energy day and night. The white-haired old man from before sighed. When the geniuses of the various factions arrive, we won't have a chance. No matter what, we have to give it a try. I'll do it next. An old woman stepped forward and poured her divine energy into the origin energy day and night, unwilling to give up. This old woman was the strongest, and she managed to stimulate 6 origin energy pillars, but it was still a drop in the bucket. The others were unwilling to give up either. They stepped forward and poured their divine energy into the origin energy day and night. Origin energy pillars flew out like dancing snakes. However, some of the 5th-level celestial gods managed to stimulate even fewer origin energy pillars. Some only had 2, while others only had 1. Not long after, 80 of the 81 people had made their moves. Only Lu Ming had yet to make his move. The 80 people only had 251 origin energy day and night. It was 748 origin energy day and night to reach 999. Chapter 2888. Everyone's expression turned ugly. Sigh, it's still not enough. Only 251, the difference is too big. The Heart of Desolation is not fated with us. I guess only the joint efforts of many geniuses can open the morning and evening pillar. Many people sighed. Some glanced at Lu Ming and directly ignored him. There was still Lu Ming who had not made a move, but the crowd no longer held any hope. Lu Ming was a true immortal realm cultivator. It was already a miracle that he could reach this point. It was already not bad if he could stimulate 1 morning and evening pillar. Even if Lu Ming was young and had good talent, there were still more than 700 morning and evening pillars. There was no hope. Forget it. Someone shook his head and withdrew his divine power, retreating a dozen steps. Following that, the others also shook their heads and withdrew their divine power. The morning and evening pillars also disappeared. However, no one left because they were unwilling to accept this result. This is interesting. I wonder how many morning and evening pillars I can stimulate if I go up. Lu Ming pondered in his heart, revealing a trace of interest, and then stepped forward. When Lu Ming moved, many people's gazes turned to Lu Ming. This kid still wants to go up. We all failed, but he still wants to go up. Is he stupid? But speaking of which, it's not easy for this kid to reach this point with his true immortal realm cultivation. He might be a genius. Even if he's a genius, how many morning and evening pillars can he stimulate? 10, 20, even if he can stimulate 100, it's useless. That's right. Guess how many morning and evening pillars this kid can stimulate? How many? This kid is so young and has such cultivation. He can still reach this point. His talent is definitely not weak. I'm guessing he can stimulate at least 10 morning and evening pillars. 10, maybe more. I'm guessing between 20 to 30. 20 to 30? That's too exaggerated. You have to know that we can only get 6 morning and evening pillars at most. Everyone discussed and began to guess how many morning and evening pillars Lu Ming could stimulate. As for Lu Ming, he had already walked to the morning and evening pillars. He stretched out a palm and placed it on the morning and evening pillars. His divine power slowly poured into the morning and evening pillars. Wang, wang. The vital chi morning and evening suddenly vibrated violently. Then, Pillars of vital chi formed and danced in the air. 36 snakes. In the instant that Lu Ming poured in his divine power, Lu Ming activated 36 pillars of vital chi. So much. Everyone else was stunned. Just now, some people had guessed that Lu Ming could trigger between 20 to 30, but some people felt that they had guessed too much. It would be very difficult for Lu Ming to do so. Unexpectedly, Lu Ming had only attacked for an instant, and Lu Ming had already stimulated 36 origin chi pillars. However, this did not stop. Following that, the vital energy vibrations became even more intense, producing loud rumbling sounds like the waves of a vast ocean. Hua hua hua, more origin chi pillars shot out from the origin chi morning and evening. This time, there were 360 of them. In addition to the previous 36, there were a total of 396. Sigh sigh sigh, the sound of people inhaling cold air could be heard. Everyone's eyes were about to explode, and they were tongue-tied. 396. Everyone looked at the 399 pillars of origin chi dancing in the air, thinking that they were dreaming. Heavens, a total of 396. How is this possible? How is this possible? How is he able to stimulate so many origin chi pillars? Unbelievable, a monster, a monster. This person is a peerless genius. If there were 3 of such people, they would be able to break through the origin chi morning and evening. Some people shouted in shock. The pillar of vitality that Lu Ming alone could activate was more than the pillar of vitality that the 80 of them could activate together. However, their shock was far from over. Dong dong dong, at this moment, Lu Ming's ancient god heart began to beat. Waves of ancient god aura poured into Lu Ming's palm and into the origin chi morning and evening. Wang, wang, wang. The origin chi morning and evening began to vibrate again. Following that, more origin chi pillars flew out. This time, more than 300 origin chi pillars were formed. In total, there were 700 origin chi pillars. There's more. The others were completely dumbfounded and stood there in a daze. 700 origin chi pillars, a total of 700 origin chi pillars. In history, the strongest genius could only stimulate more than 100 origin chi pillars, but Lu Ming had stimulated 700. How was this possible? How could there be such a strong genius in the world? The other 80 people thought that they had seen the world, but at this moment, they all felt that they were country bumpkins, people who had never seen the world before. 700 origin chi pillars, this should be the limit. The white-haired old man swallowed hard. His eyes were wide open, and his heart was thumping. However, in the next moment, he almost fell to the ground. That was because the origin chi morning and evening had not stopped vibrating. Instead, it vibrated even more violently. Could it be that he can stimulate more origin chi pillars? Some people said in a hoarse voice. 700 origin chi pillars are not enough. Let's try the battle formula. Lu Ming's eyes flashed a ray of light, and then he began to activate the battle formula. Lu Ming's understanding of the battle formula was getting more and more profound. Now, the success rate of activating the battle formula to quadruple his combat strength had reached 50%. Lu Ming's body was filled with a strong fighting spirit, and a powerful force burst out from his body. Rumble. The origin chi morning and evening vibrated even more violently. Then, more origin chi pillars rushed out. This time, hundreds of origin chi pillars rushed out, and the sky was filled with origin chi pillars. The number of origin chi pillars reached a total of 999. The number of origin chi pillars needed to activate the origin chi morning and evening was 999. Oh my god, he alone activated 999 origin chi pillars. This is too shocking. Unbelievable. Everyone at the scene was almost scared to death. At this moment, the origin chi morning and evening vibrated violently, rolling up waves of origin chi that filled the sky. There was a terrifying explosion, and cracks appeared on the origin chi morning and evening. It's going to open. The origin chi morning and evening is going to open. The heart of desolation is going to be born. Many people shouted, and their eyes were burning with passion. This time, it was really out of everyone's expectations. They originally thought that it was impossible to open the Origin Chi morning and that they would have to wait for the news to spread out, and the geniuses of the major forces in Qin Tian Starfield would gather to open it. They never thought that it would open now. Ha ha ha, the Heart of Desolation is destined to be mine. A 7th-level heavenly god expert roared in his heart, and his eyes were burning with passion. Although Lu Ming had activated 999 primordial chi pillars, in his opinion, Lu Ming was only talented. Lu Ming's cultivation level and combat strength were nothing in his eyes. Chapter 2889. In fact, it wasn't just this 7th-layer heavenly god who thought so, the others thought so too. They had to admit that Lu Ming's talent was unparalleled. It was simply unheard of. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the true god realm after all. Talent didn't mean strength, so they didn't take him seriously at all. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the Heart of Desolation, waiting for the moment when the Heart of Desolation would collapse. Boom. Finally, the Heart of Desolation exploded with a loud bang, turning into endless chi and dissipating in the air. The Heart of Desolation is mine. A 7th-layer heavenly god expert roared and pounced at the Heart of Desolation. Get lost. The Heart of Desolation is mine. Kill. The others roared and pounced at the Heart of Desolation with bloodshot eyes. Those who could make it this far were at least 5th-layer heavenly gods with shocking fighting strength. A total of 80 people pounced at the Heart of Desolation. A chaotic battle began. Boom. 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 Everyone fought fiercely. All 80 people wanted to get the Heart of Desolation. Once someone got close to the Heart of Desolation, they would be surrounded and attacked by the others. As soon as the battle began, some people fell and were killed here. A few screams were heard as a few 5th-layer heavenly gods were killed. However, no one retreated. They continued to attack the Heart of Desolation. The Heart of Desolation was something that even divine kings would be tempted to fight for. One could imagine how valuable it was. How could an ordinary cultivator resist such a temptation? Everyone ignored Lu Ming. No one thought that Lu Ming was a threat. Lu Ming stood at the side with a smile. He withdrew his divine force and didn't make a move. He wanted to reap the benefits while the tigers fought. The battle became more and more intense. Some of the weaker cultivators were killed one after another. Finally, some of them were scared. They retreated out of the battlefield with fear on their faces. Only some 6th-layer and 7th-layer heavenly gods were left fighting and competing. However, no one could get close to the Heart of Desolation. This battle lasted for half a day, but no one had obtained the Heart of Desolation. In the end, the fighting stopped. The most powerful group of experts stopped at the 4 sides of the Heart of Chaos, facing each other, breathing heavily. It was clear that the consumption was extremely severe. After this battle, of the original 80 people, only 40 or so remained. Nearly half of them had died here. The remaining people faced each other and stared at each other. For a moment, no one dared to make the first move. They all knew that whoever made the first move would be besieged by the others. No one could guarantee that they would be able to escape unscathed under the siege of others. It's about time. At this moment, Lu Ming muttered. Then, he stepped forward. Step by step, he walked towards the Heart of Desolation. What is this brat trying to do? Many people's eyes were focused on Lu Ming. Some of them had cold murderous intent in their eyes. Could it be that this kid is trying to claim the Heart of Chaos? You're courting death. Cold light flashed in the eyes of some people. Brat, stop. Someone shouted. However, Lu Ming did not stop. He continued to walk forward, not bothering to pay attention to that person. Brat, you're courting death. That person roared and slashed at Lu Ming with his saber. This person was a 6th-level heavenly god. However, he was already injured in the battle just now. Moreover, his divine power was severely depleted. His combat strength had weakened a lot. He was even weaker than a 5th-level heavenly god. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted and attacked with all his might. His spear lashed out at that person. Boom. The two of them clashed, causing a loud explosion. Lu Ming's figure only swayed a little while the other party's body shook violently and retreated continuously. This brat, many people's eyes narrowed, revealing a look of surprise. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded their expectations. Although that person's combat strength had weakened a lot, it was still not to be underestimated. Lu Ming was only a true God Realm cultivator, but he could actually force such an expert to retreat. No wonder he could reach here. Many people had such a thought in their minds. After Lu Ming forced that person back, he continued to rush toward the Heart of Desolation. Brat, you have some strength, but it's still not enough. An old woman shouted coldly. She stretched out her withered hand and clawed at Lu Ming. A withered claw rapidly enlarged, emitting a disgusting smell, and grabbed at Lu Ming. This old woman was a 7th-level heavenly god. Previously, she had activated 6 pillars of vitality. Her strength was extremely shocking. Even though her divine power was severely depleted, once she attacked, her strength was extremely terrifying. However, Lu Ming was not afraid at all. Ancient God Body. Lu Ming's heart stirred as he unleashed the Ancient God tactic. His body expanded rapidly. This time, Lu Ming did not hold back. He used his full strength. He turned into a 200-meter-tall green-armored Ancient God and let out an Ancient God roar. Roar. With a loud roar, Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear. Puff. The withered old woman's palm was directly pierced by Lu Ming. The old woman let out a sharp scream and stretched her hand back. Her face was pale, and blood flowed from her palm. The others were shocked. The old woman's strength was extremely terrifying. Although she had consumed some of her energy, it was still very terrifying. She was actually injured by Lu Ming's spear. A true God Realm person's combat strength was actually so terrifying. After repelling the old woman, Lu Ming's figure flashed and rushed toward the Heart of Desolation. He wants to take the Heart of Desolation. Let's attack together and kill this person, the old woman shouted. A powerful aura erupted from her body as she attacked Lu Ming. At the same time, the other experts also attacked Lu Ming. There were more than a dozen 7th-level heavenly gods and many 6th-level heavenly gods. With so many people attacking together, the power was shocking. Courting death. Lu Ming shouted coldly. A layer of crimson gold armor appeared on his huge body. Then, 9 ice chains flew out and surrounded him. Lu Ming first set up layers of defense, then attacked the old woman. Boom. Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear. A spear light pierced toward the old woman. Lu Ming was now able to suppress the Paragon Saint with his full strength. Although the Paragon Saint's cultivation was only 6th-level heavenly god, his combat strength was strong enough to kill a 7th-level heavenly god. He was probably stronger than the old woman. And Lu Ming could suppress the Paragon Saint. Naturally, dealing with the old woman was not a problem. Moreover, the old woman's divine energy was severely depleted. Puff. The spear light directly shattered the old woman's attack. The old woman screamed and spat out a large mouthful of blood. She quickly retreated. At this moment, the others' attacks also landed on Lu Ming's body. The 9 ice chains and the crimson gold armor shook a few times before exploding. Then, they landed on Lu Ming's green scales. However, the green scales' defense was shocking. They successfully blocked the others' attacks. Chapter 2890. The green scales on the ancient god body had incredible defensive power. Although the experts had destroyed Lu Ming's ice chains and 9 layers scarlet gold armor, they hadn't been able to break through the green scales. Although some of the scales had broken and blood had seeped out of his body, Lu Ming had still managed to block them. Lu Ming had a rough idea of his own defensive power. Kill. Lu Ming roared, no longer caring about his own defense. He brandished his spear and attacked the old woman. The old woman had already been heavily injured by Lu Ming and didn't have the strength to fight back. She frantically retreated, screaming, "Save me! Save me!" However, Lu Ming had forcefully endured the attacks of the others. It was too late for the others to save her. Bang! The spear stabbed out, and a huge spear light crushed the old woman. In front of the spear light, the old woman's body was as small as an ant. She directly exploded, turning into ashes. A 7th-level celestial god expert was killed by Lu Ming just like that. After killing the old woman, Lu Ming's spear changed direction, and he attacked the others. While attacking the others, Lu Ming's body constantly flashed with all kinds of light. 9 layers scarlet gold armor, ice chains, and even 3 divine dragon manifestations. Lu Ming didn't use these divine skills and secret arts to attack, but to defend. Boom, boom, boom. One attack after another landed on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body shook, and the ice chains, 9 layers scarlet gold armor, and divine dragon manifestations all collapsed. However, the power of the attacks that landed on Lu Ming's body was much weaker. They were all blocked by Lu Ming. Lu Ming seemed to be dripping with blood, but his vital organs were not injured. Lu Ming blocked the attacks of the others, but the others couldn't block Lu Ming's attacks. Lu Ming specifically targeted a 7th-level heavenly god and launched a fierce attack. Soon, this person followed in the footsteps of the old woman and was killed by Lu Ming. After killing 2 7th-level heavenly gods consecutively, the others were finally a little scared. Their eyes were filled with fear. Some of them even slowed down their attacks, planning to flee the moment something went wrong. As for Lu Ming, the more he fought, the more courageous he became. His battle intent soared to the heavens, and a terrifying spear light constantly pierced and swept out. Not long after, another 2 people were killed. Not good. Retreat. Some people were terrified. When they saw Lu Ming charging over, they didn't dare to fight back. They retreated continuously, afraid that they would be targeted by Lu Ming. Whoosh. Lu Ming didn't chase after them. His figure flickered as he rushed towards the Heart of Desolation. When he got close to the Heart of Desolation, no one dared to compete with him. Lu Ming grabbed the Heart of Desolation and put it into his spatial ring. Damn it. Damn it, my Heart of Desolation. Many people roared in their hearts as they watched Lu Ming take the Heart of Desolation. They were envious to death, but no one dared to stop him. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong. The main thing was that his defense was too abnormal. They couldn't break through Lu Ming's defense, so they couldn't deal a fatal blow to Lu Ming. If it was someone else with similar offensive strength as Lu Ming, but without such a strong defense, they definitely wouldn't be a match for so many of them. They would have been killed by their combined attacks. Unfortunately, after Lu Ming transformed into his ancient god body, his defense was too abnormal. It was enough to block their attacks and then chase after one of them. This terrified them. The Heart of Desolation is finally mine. Lu Ming's lips curled into a faint smile, and then he rushed in the direction he came from. Wherever Lu Ming went, no one stopped him. Although the Heart of Desolation was precious, it was far inferior to one's own life. Lu Ming left this place unimpeded and arrived outside. Outside, many people swept their gazes toward Lu Ming, looking suspicious. You came out. What's the situation inside? Did anyone get the Heart of Desolation? You seem to be heavily injured. You must have been seriously injured and withdrawn from the competition, right? Many people saw that Lu Ming was the first one to come out, and immediately asked all at once. Yes, they were competing for the Heart of Desolation. There was a huge battle going on inside. My cultivation was too weak, so I couldn't defeat them. I was lucky to survive. Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded, believing that Lu Ming was telling the truth. No one doubted that Lu Ming had obtained the Heart of Desolation. Therefore, no one doubted Lu Ming. Lu Ming left this place unimpeded and headed out of the Desolation mountain range. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, your luck is really good. You didn't get the Desolation grass, but you actually got the Heart of Desolation. If you use the Heart of Desolation to refine an array disk, its power will be even more shocking. At that time, you will have a greater chance of defeating the Dragon Mountain. In Lu Ming's Sea of Consciousness, Ji Mo laughed heartily, lamenting Lu Ming's luck. Lu Ming was also quite happy. Now, he had found all the things that Ji Mo said. Now, he could return to the Kongxian school and refine the array disk. The Dragon Mountain wanted to sacrifice him to break the Rising Dragon formation, but it wasn't that easy. Not long after, Lu Ming left the Desolation mountain range. After spending some time, he returned to the Kongxian school. After returning to the Kongxian school, Lu Ming found Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming, you want to see my grandfather? Ouyang Qingxiang asked in surprise. Yes, I have something to ask Senior Yu for help. Lu Ming nodded. The array disk that Ji Yumo mentioned was incomparably mysterious. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, it was impossible for him to refine it. If he wanted to fully refine it and display its power, only a divine king could do it. However, it was easier said than done to ask a divine king for help. Therefore, Lu Ming immediately thought of Ouyang Qingxiang's grandfather, Yu Wuya. Lu Ming had helped Ouyang Qingxiang obtain the position of Zongzi of the Kongxian school. Yu Wuya had no reason to reject Lu Ming. Asking my grandfather for help is a small matter. Come with me. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded and led Lu Ming to Yu Wuya's cultivation area. When they arrived at Yu Wuya's cultivation area, Lu Ming waited outside while Ouyang Qingxiang went in to look for Yu Wuya. Not long after, Ouyang Qingxiang came out with a smile on her face and said, Lu Ming, my grandfather just came out of seclusion. I'll bring you to see him. Lu Ming nodded and followed Ouyang Qingxiang to a large hall to see Yu Wuya. Junior Lu Ming greets Senior Yu. Lu Ming cupped his fists and bowed. After all, Yu Wuya was a divine king expert, a top expert of the Qin Tian star field. Lu Ming, no need to be so polite. Sit. Yu Wuya smiled and invited Lu Ming to take a seat. Lu Ming had helped Ouyang Qingxiang obtain the position of Zongzi. Yu Wuya's impression of Lu Ming was extremely good. The more he looked at Lu Ming, the more pleasing he was to the eye. He was even thinking of how to matchmake Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. This way, Ouyang Qingxiang's position in the Kongxian school would be as stable as Mount Tai. Therefore, he was very polite to Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang sat down and someone came to brew tea. Chapter 2891. Yu Wuya picked up the teacup and took a sip. His gaze fell on Lu Ming again as he asked, I heard from Qingxiang that you have something you need my help with? Yes, Senior Yu. I want to refine a kind of array disk, but my cultivation is too low and I can't refine it. Only a divine king expert can refine it, so I thought of you, Senior. Lu Ming did not hide and directly told him his purpose. What array disk? It needs a divine king to refine it. Yu Wuya was also interested. Senior, please take a look. Lu Ming took out a jade talisman and waved his hand. The jade talisman flew to Yu Wuya. Yu Wuya caught it in his hand and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness, reading the contents of the jade talisman. After a while, Yu Wuya revealed a look of surprise and said, What a mysterious array disk. The refining method of such an array disk is really unheard of. Amazing, amazing. No wonder you can't refine it with your cultivation. Haha, don't you know who gave the array disk? How can the array disk given by me be bad? Bone Demon's smug voice sounded. Senior, this is something I found by chance when exploring a ruin. May I ask if you can refine it? Lu Ming asked. I can refine it, but some of the materials needed to refine this array disk are rather rare. Even I can't gather them in a short time. Yu Wuya said. Senior, the materials are not a problem. I've already gathered them. After Lu Ming finished speaking, he took out the materials needed to refine the array disk one by one. The Heart of Desolation. Lu Ming, you actually have the Heart of Desolation? When he saw Lu Ming take out the Heart of Desolation, Yu Wuya was shocked. Lu Ming's weight in his heart increased a little. This junior was lucky enough to obtain it. Lu Ming said humbly. Yu Wuya smiled, knowing that Lu Ming was being modest. If he was lucky enough to obtain it, then why couldn't others obtain it? Lu Ming, since the materials have been prepared, this old man can begin the refinement. However, it will take a few months to complete the refinement. Once the refinement is complete, I will send someone to inform you. Yu Wuya said. Thank you, Senior. Junior has another request. I hope that Senior won't tell anyone else about this disc array, especially other god kings. Lu Ming said. If news of the disc array were to spread to Dragon Jushan, or if Dragon Jushan were to see it, it would definitely raise the guard of Dragon Jushan. Yu Wuya glanced at Lu Ming in surprise. He did not understand why Lu Ming did not dare to let the other god kings know. However, he did not ask any further. He nodded and said, "Don't worry, I will definitely not let a second person know." "Thank you, Senior." Lu Ming cupped his fists in thanks and then left with Ouyang Qingxiang. He would be able to refine it in a few months. There was enough time. Longshaotian had given Lu Ming 10 years of time. Returning to his residence, Lu Ming cultivated in peace. In a blink of an eye, several months passed. Yu Wuya had already finished refining the disc array and had Ouyang Qingxiang bring it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief, feeling much more confident. Cultivating like this is too slow. It's impossible to break through to the heavenly god realm in 10 years. On this day, Lu Ming ended his cultivation and pondered with a frown on his face. There was a huge chasm between the peak 9th level true god realm and the heavenly god realm. It was too difficult to break through. 99% of people were forever stuck at the peak true god realm, unable to break through. Only those with outstanding talent could break through after a long period of accumulation or some fortuitous encounter. Therefore, those who could break through to the heavenly god realm were mostly geniuses with king-grade divine force. The higher the grade of divine force, the easier it was to break through. Those with ordinary divine force would find it difficult to break through to the heavenly god realm. Of course, it wasn't absolute. There were those with ordinary divine force who broke through to the heavenly god realm, but those were the minority. However, no matter how high the grade of divine force they controlled was, it was very difficult for them to break through to the heavenly god realm in 10 years after breaking through to the peak 9th level true god realm. Lu Ming frowned. He didn't doubt that if he couldn't break through to the heavenly god realm in 10 years, Longshaotian would really make a move on him. Lu Ming was still thinking about what method he could find to let his cultivation break through quickly. At this time, Lu Ming's heart shook. He felt that someone was coming from outside the courtyard. Lu Ming walked out of the courtyard and saw a white-haired old man standing in the air. "Holy Son Lu Ming." The white-haired old man smiled and nodded in greeting. "Elder Liu, why are you looking for me?" Lu Ming asked. Lu Ming recognized this white-haired old man. He was an inner sect elder. The sect master has ordered to gather all the holy sons and holy daughters. He has a mission for you. Elder Liu said. "A mission? And all the holy sons and holy daughters? What mission is it?" Lu Ming asked curiously. "To be honest, I also don't know. I'm only in charge of passing on the message. Holy Son Lu Ming, follow me. Later, a grand elder will tell you." Elder Liu said courteously. Then, Lu Ming followed Elder Liu into the depths of the inner sect. Soon, the two of them arrived at the peak of a mountain. "Everyone's here." Lu Ming swept his gaze across and discovered that the paragon saint, Saint Son of Floating Light, Saint Son of Flaming Sky, Saint Son of Ji Xia, Ouyang Qingxiang, and Saintess Shuatan were all present at the peak of the mountain. Seeing Lu Ming arrive, everyone's gaze fell on Lu Ming. Especially the Supreme Holy Son. A cold light flashed in his eyes, revealing a wisp of killing intent. But it was only a flash before he hid it. However, Lu Ming's spiritual perception was extremely sharp. He clearly caught it. "You want to kill me? Mph, you better not give me the chance." A wisp of killing intent also flashed in Lu Ming's heart. Clearly, the Supreme Holy Son had lost to Lu Ming last time and harbored a grudge against Lu Ming. He wanted to kill Lu Ming. If there was a chance, Lu Ming wouldn't be lenient toward such a person. He would find a chance to get rid of him. His gaze swept past the Supreme Holy Son, Fuxiko, and the others before landing on the old man at the front. "Senior Elder." Lu Ming's heart shook. From this old man's clothes, Lu Ming knew he was a senior elder of the Kongshen School's Senior Elder Hall. He was in existence at the Divine King realm. Elder Liu landed in front of Senior Elder Hall and respectfully bowed. "Senior Elder Hall, Holy Son Lu Ming has arrived." "All right, you can leave," said Senior Elder Liu indifferently. Then Elder Liu respectfully left. Only Lu Ming, the Holy Sons, and Senior Elder Hall were left on the mountain peak. "You must be very curious as to what mission I've gathered you for this time, right? Said Senior Elder Hall with a faint smile. That's right. Senior Elder Fan, may I know why you've gathered us all together? The Paragon Saint was the first to ask. There is indeed a major matter that requires you all to work together. The location is in Darklight Galaxy. As for the specifics, there's no need to rush. Come with me. Once we reach Darklight Galaxy, I'll naturally tell you. Let's go. After Senior Elder Fan finished speaking, he walked in the direction of the transportation formation. Everyone could only follow Grand Elder Fan into the teleportation array with their doubts. Chapter 2892. Dim Light Star River was an extremely remote star river in the Qin Tian starfield. It was even more remote than the chaotic Star River. That was because there were very few living beings in this star river. Cultivators were even rarer, and those who had become gods were few and far between. Therefore, very few people would come here. Every major force would symbolically set up a teleportation point in Dim Ice Star River and send a few people to guard it. Through the teleportation array, Lu Ming's group arrived at the teleportation point. Then, with a wave of Grand Elder Fan's hand, a surge of divine force shrouded them and brought them into the starry sky. Their speed was extremely fast. What astonishing speed! Lu Ming looked at the stars flying past one after another and exclaimed in his heart. The speed of a God King expert was too fast. Shuttling through the starry sky was even faster than most of the space battleships. In fact, after reaching the God King realm, there was almost no need for space battleships. Unless it was a rare and astonishingly high-grade space battleship, the average space battleship's speed wouldn't be comparable to a God King's flying speed. Half a day later, in the starry sky ahead, a dazzling radiance suddenly shone. Rings of radiance appeared in the starry sky ahead. They were extremely dazzling, even brighter than the stars, illuminating the starry sky. Lu Ming's group came to a halt. That is, everyone looked in front of them in shock. Because those rings of radiance were too big. They were many times bigger than a life planet. This is our target for this trip. There's a star system in front of us, Grand Elder Fan explained. Everyone looked over and saw that there was indeed a star system in front of them. The core of this star system was a star. However, this star's radiance was extremely dim, as if it would extinguish at any moment. Around this star, there were about a dozen planets revolving around it. Those rings of radiance were emitted from this star system. One could imagine how big it was. Boom! Boom! At this moment, terrifying rumbles erupted from the periphery of the star system. Dazzling divine light illuminated the starry sky. The terrifying explosion shook the entire star system. There are experts attacking that star system, Ouyang Qingxiang exclaimed. That's right. There are indeed experts attacking this star system. They are the sect masters of the Qin Tian 13 sects and some God King Grand Elders. Grand Elder Fan explained. Lu Ming and the others were even more surprised. The patriarchs of the Qin Tian 13 sects had arrived. There were also some divine king eminent elders who were besieging this galaxy. What was in this galaxy? Let me tell you, this entire galaxy has been set up with a great formation. Those rings of light are the light of the great formation. Even the sect masters of the Qin Tian 13 sects and the divine king experts could not break through it. Grand Elder Fan explained. Set up the formation with the stars. Lu Ming and the others were dumbfounded. Just how big was a galaxy? Someone had actually laid down a formation over the entire galaxy. Just how terrifying was that? It was truly astonishing. Grand Elder Fan, what exactly is inside this great array? It actually drew over the 13 Sky Pillar sects. Besides that, what does this have to do with us? The Paragon Saint asked. The patriarchs of the Qin Tian 13 sects and some God King doyens were here. What did that have to do with them? With their cultivation, there was no way they could interfere at all. Don't be anxious. This matter needs to be explained from the beginning. Grand Elder Fan then explained the ins and outs of the matter in detail. Usually, no one would pay attention to the dim light galaxy, and almost no one would come here. But a few months ago, Someone had accidentally discovered that this galaxy was extremely strange. After some investigation, they discovered that this galaxy had actually been set up with a great formation. This kind of great formation quickly alarmed the upper echelons of the Qin Tian 13 sects. The Qin Tian 13 sects immediately sent experts who were proficient in formations to study it. In the end, they came up with a shocking conclusion. In the distant past, someone had set up a great formation over the entire galaxy with a star as the core. Their goal was to refine a star core. To refine an entire star into a star core. When this news came out, it shocked most of the God King experts of the Qin Tian 13 sects. That was because once a cultivator reached the God King realm, they would have to refine a star core. When a heavenly god broke through to the God King realm, the divine flame in their body would turn into a star core. A star core was the core of a star. It condensed boundless power. However, a God King star core was extremely weak and small. It couldn't be compared to a star's star core. Someone actually wanted to refine an entire star into a star core. A star core refined from an entire star was definitely a priceless treasure. If a God King could obtain it, his cultivation base would definitely soar. Furthermore, a formation grandmaster had already come up with the conclusion that this great formation had been set up for a very long time. The star had practically been refined, so the star core had already been successfully refined. It would be strange if those God Kings weren't moved. If they obtained the star core, their cultivation bases would soar and they would be able to suppress other God Kings and dominate the Qin Tian starfield. That was why the sect masters of the Qin Tian 13 sects and many other God Kings had come to fight for the star core. However, they had been blocked by the galaxy's great formation. After a few months of attacks, many experts had been unable to break through the great formation and enter the galaxy. Through the research of many formation grandmasters, they had come up with the conclusion that only the younger generation's geniuses could enter this galaxy. That was because the great formation had been specially set up. When one's age exceeded a certain limit, it was impossible to enter. That was why they had gathered all of them. It's not just us from the Kongxian school. The top geniuses from the other forces have also been gathered. However, the various sect masters and God Kings are still unwilling to give up. They want to make one last attempt to see if they can break through this great formation. Grand Elder Fan explained. Lu Ming and the rest were enlightened. They finally knew what had happened. Ahead of them were the various sect masters and God King Realm Grand Elder's final attempt to break through the formation. If they still couldn't break through, they would probably have to send their younger generation's geniuses. It was no wonder that all the saints and saintesses had been gathered. It was because they might have to compete with the top geniuses from the other forces, or even the top 3 overlord forces. Boom! Boom! In the starry sky ahead, the rumbling sounds were still incessant as dazzling lights flashed. All of you, follow me. Grand Elder Fan led Lu Ming and the rest forward. Swoosh! Swoosh! At that moment, streams of light flew over from other directions. Lu Ming and the rest looked around and saw that every stream of light was a figure. There was a God King realm expert leading a group of young people. Obviously, these were the experts from the other forces who had brought their young geniuses over. After flying for a while, they stopped not far away from the galaxy. Chapter 2893. Other than Lu Ming and the others, there were other people in this area. There were a total of 13 batches, and each batch had some young people. The prodigies of the Qin Tian 13 sects had all arrived. Among them, the 3 overlord forces, the Mystic Academy, the Invincible Kens, and the Immeasurable Sacred Ground had the most people. Each of them had a strong aura, and their eyes were filled with powerful auras. It was obvious that they were all experts, and each of them was a saint. However, there were some sects that were much more shabby. Although they had a lot of people, and some sects even had more people than the Profound Sky sect, there were very few Holy Sun level characters. Some powers only had 1 or 2 Holy Sun level characters, while the others weren't Holy Sun level characters at all. They were far inferior to Holy Sun level characters. The prodigies of the Qin Tian 13 sects were sizing each other up. Ji Qiankuan, I heard that you were defeated in the Kongshen School's Zongzi competition. Ha ha ha, you're really a piece of trash. At this moment, a loud laugh was heard. It came from the Mystic Academy. Lu Ming and the rest looked in the direction of the voice. Someone from the multi-eyed race. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The person who had spoken just now had 4 eyes on his face. There were 2 eyes on each side, and all 4 eyes were shining with a cold light. This was the multi-eyed race, also known as the 4-eyed race. Like the 3-eyed race, they belonged to the multi-eyed race. 4-eyed emptiness, what did you say? The Paragon Saint's face was extremely cold as he stared at this person. This person's name was 4-eyed emptiness. What? Did I say something wrong? I heard that you were defeated by a new disciple of the Kongshen School. If you're not a piece of trash, then what are you? To think that you used to be as famous as me. How disgusting. 4-eyed emptiness sneered, his face full of disdain. Ha ha ha, 4-eyed emptiness, you're right. Ji Chenkuan, you're really a piece of trash. Someone from the invincible Kens and the immeasurable sacred ground sneered disdainfully. This made the Paragon Saint's face turn even uglier. Lu Ming. The Paragon Saint roared in his heart. This was a great humiliation to him, and he blamed this humiliation on Lu Ming. It was all Lu Ming's fault. If it weren't for Lu Ming, he wouldn't have suffered such humiliation. Lu Ming, there are some people in the 3 major forces that you have to pay attention to. That 4-eyed Empyrean is someone who is as famous as the Sovereign Holy Sun. He is extremely talented and has great combat strength. I'm afraid he is even stronger than the Sovereign Holy Sun. Ouyang Qingxiang transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. There's also the invincible Kens in the immeasurable sacred ground. Each and every one of them is extremely terrifying. Ouyang Qingxiang continued to transmit her voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded and asked, I heard that there are divine sons in the 3 overlords. Where are their divine sons? Did they not come? They're all here. Ouyang Qingxiang said, do you see that cold-faced bald youth in the Mystic Academy? That's the Mystic Academy's divine son, Mo Juyi. Lu Ming looked in the direction Ouyang Qingxiang was pointing. Indeed, he saw a bald youth in the Mystic Academy's crowd. This person's appearance was ordinary, and his aura was restrained. Standing in the crowd, it was easy to overlook him. Lu Ming hadn't paid much attention to this person before. He hadn't expected this person to be the Mystic Academy's divine son, a peerless genius who controlled divine-grade divine force. As if sensing Lu Ming's gaze, Mo Juyi also looked at Lu Ming. A pitch-black light flashed in his eyes, and it shot towards Lu Ming like a sharp blade. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed, and he felt a stabbing pain in his eyes. He quickly circulated his energy to block it. This person is very terrifying. Lu Ming came to a conclusion. Mo Juyi stared at Lu Ming, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. The corners of his mouth curled into a sneer. His lips moved slightly and a voice suddenly rang in Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming, in the ancient god's world, you killed the Mystic Academy's divine son. This is a great crime, and I will make you pay with your life. Mo Juyi's voice was cold and merciless, and it was filled with terrifying killing intent. You want to kill me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do so. Lu Ming replied forcefully. Hehe, you're very confident. Just you wait. Mo Juyi said coldly, and then he didn't say anything else. Ouyang Qingxiang didn't know that Lu Ming and Mo Juyi had already talked in secret, so she continued to introduce to Lu Ming. The young man in white from the invincible Kens is the invincible Kens's divine son, and the sword in his hand is extremely terrifying, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming's gaze shifted from Mo Juyi to the young man in white from the invincible Kens. This person was called Sword Dao Wuji, and he was extremely handsome. His entire body exuded a terrifying sword intent that no one could ignore. Another terrifying genius, Lu Ming thought to himself. Sword Dao Wuji's gaze also looked at Lu Ming, and a cold smile appeared on his face. His eyes were like 2 divine swords, emitting a terrifying sword intent. Even the other invincible Kens's prodigies standing beside him paled, and they quickly moved away from him to avoid being injured by his sword intent. The burly young man in red armor from the boundless sacred ground is called Kang Yang Pajuan, and is the divine son of the boundless sacred ground. Ouyang Qingxiang introduced. Lu Ming's gaze shifted over again. It was a young man who was close to 3 meters tall. He was abnormally burly, and he wore a thick red armor that gave off a powerful pressure. The pressure that this person gave off wasn't any weaker than Sword Dao Wu Ji or Mo Ju Yi. He was also a terrifying genius. Lu Ming memorized the names of these 3 people. There were many prodigies from the Qin Tian 13 sects, but only these 3 people made Lu Ming feel threatened. He didn't care about the others. Boom! Boom! Just as everyone was sizing each other up, the explosions in front of them became even more intense. Rings of dazzling light could be seen flickering around the galaxy, blocking the terrifying attacks. After a while, those attacks stopped. Then, rays of light began to fly over. The sect masters of the Qin Tian 13 sects and the other divine king experts had finished breaking the formation and returned. In the next moment, 5 figures appeared in front of Lu Ming and the others. The person in the lead was the Kongxian School's sect master, Dragon Jushan. The other 4 were the founding elders of the Kongxian School, and they were all divine king experts. Dragon Jushan and the other 4's auras were a little unstable. It was obvious that breaking the formation had consumed a lot of energy. Sect Master, how is it? Still can't break it? Founding Elder Fan asked. It can't be broken. Dragon Jushan shook his head, and then his gaze fell on Lu Ming and the others. It's up to you now. Don't worry, Sect Master. I'll do my best to help you get the stellar core, the Supreme Saint hurriedly said. Dragon Jushan waved his hand and said, there's no need for you to get the stellar core. With your cultivation, you won't be able to get the stellar core. According to the predictions of the Array Masters, there are some array plates in this galaxy. Chapter 2894. That's right. The person who set up the array did not completely seal off Lu Ming. When he set up the array, there was still a possibility, and that was the array plate. According to the speculation of a few array masters, there should be 12 array plates in the galaxy. As long as we have the array plates, we can enter the galaxy unimpeded and obtain the star core. Therefore, your mission this time is to enter the galaxy and find the array plates. At least, you must obtain one, Long Jushan said. Don't worry, sect leader. I will do my best. Even if I have to risk my life, I will obtain one of the array plate. The Supreme Holy Sun was the first to speak again. The mission this time isn't going to be easy. The other factions have sent out all their geniuses. Therefore, the mission I'm giving you is a formation badge, at least one. Of course, the more the better. Also, those array plates are scattered on different planets in the galaxy. It won't be that easy to find them. Long Jushan said. Lu Ming and the others were silent as they began to ponder. It seems that the star core is very important to Longshausen. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. However, although entering that galaxy this time will be dangerous for you, it will also be an opportunity. Countless years ago, an Almighty set up a formation here to refine a star into a star core. Now that the star core has been formed, some other treasures will also appear in the galaxy. For example, some extremely precious materials for refining weapons. Maybe even fragments of the star core will appear. Long Jushan said. Star core fragments. Lu Ming, the Supreme Holy Sun, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others' eyes lit up. That's right. Star core fragments. After all, they are refining the star into a star core. It is very likely that some star core fragments will appear during the refining process. If you can obtain the star core fragments, it will be a great opportunity for you. Long Jushan said. This made Lu Ming and the others even more excited. Lu Ming, this is also a great opportunity for you. If you can get some star core fragments, you will have a great chance to break through to the celestial god realm. You have to seize this opportunity. You only have 10 years. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. Longshausen's cold voice sounded in Lu Ming's ears. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes, but he didn't say anything. Long Jushan did not have good intentions when he reminded Lu Ming. He wanted Lu Ming to break through to the heavenly god realm so that he could use him to break through the rising dragon formation. Of course, Lu Ming was also very interested in the stellar core fragment. He also intended to use the stellar core fragment to break through to the heavenly god realm. In this contest with the Dragon Mountain, the higher the cultivation, the better. If any of you can obtain the array plate, I will reward you handsomely. Alright, follow me. After Long Jushan finished his last sentence, he turned around and headed towards the star system. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, the Paragon Saint, and the others followed. In another direction, the other prodigies of the Qin Heavenly 13 sects also arrived at the edge of the star system under the lead of their respective sect masters. The mission I gave you is to obtain at least 3 of the 12 array plates. Do you understand? The Dean of the Mystic Academy warned the prodigies of the Mystic Academy. He didn't hide his voice and it spread far and wide, allowing everyone to hear him. Dean, don't worry. We will definitely obtain at least 3 of the 12 array plates. No problem. The prodigies of the Mystic Academy spoke one after another. They were all very confident. The Mystic Academy sure is confident. However, I am the invincible Kens. I need at least 3 array plates. Are you confident? The Invincible Kens sect master sneered and asked the prodigies of the Invincible Kens. Yes. 3 array plates. We must obtain them. The prodigies of the Invincible Kens roared with confidence. On the other side, the prodigies of the Immeasurable Sacred Ground roared as well. Their goal was also to obtain at least 3 array plates. There were a total of 12 array plates. The 3 overlords were all very confident that they would obtain at least 3 array plates. This made the prodigies of the top 10 sects look solemn. They didn't say anything. Their appetite wasn't that big. Their goal was only 1 array plate. As long as they could obtain 1 array plate, they would be satisfied. Alright, you can all depart now. The Dean of the Mystic Academy waved his hand. Yes. The prodigies of the Mystic Academy responded and flew toward the star system in front of them. There were a total of 18 planets in the star system in front of them. There might be array plates on all 18 planets. Therefore, they could only rely on their luck to choose a star and fly toward it. However, they could only choose the outermost planet to fly toward at first. They would start their search from the outermost planets. The prodigies of the Mystic Academy chose a black planet and flew toward it. Then, the Invincible Kens and the Immeasurable Sacred Ground each chose a planet and flew toward it. In this way, the 3 overlords each occupied one of the outermost planets. You all should depart as well. Long Jushan instructed Lu Ming and the others. Let's go to that planet first. Ouyang Qingxiang pointed at a blue planet. That planet wasn't the one the 3 overlords had chosen to enter. The others didn't have any objections. They all moved and flew toward that planet. The prodigies of the other sects also chose a planet and flew toward it. Some sects chose to fly toward the same planet. After all, the surface area of a planet was very large. Even if they landed on the same planet, they might not encounter each other. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others flew into the star system's range. They didn't find anything strange. Originally, the God Kings would have been blocked by the star system's array when they reached this distance. However, Lu Ming and the others didn't find anything strange. It's really effective. Many God Kings' eyes lit up. Seeing nothing strange, Lu Ming and the others increased their speed. They flew toward that blue planet like streaks of light. As they got closer, the planet grew larger and larger in front of them. At the same time, they felt a powerful gravitational force on them. What a powerful gravitational force! Everyone's expression changed slightly. They felt that this planet's gravitational force was shockingly strong. Furthermore, the closer they got to the planet, the more terrifying the gravitational force became. In the end, when they were several tens of thousands of meters above the star system, the gravitational force was shockingly strong. They had to constantly circulate their divine energy to resist that gravitational force. Let's go down. Ouyang Qingxiang took the lead and flew down. The others followed one after another and landed on the ground. Bang! Bang! In the end, They landed heavily on the ground, creating a huge crater. What a hard ground! Everyone's heart skipped a beat. They were very surprised. Chapter 2895. They realized that the planet's ground was extremely hard, like metal. It was not like ordinary rocks at all. This place is shrouded by a formation all year round. That formation can refine a star into a star core, so the planets around the star are also affected. They are much smaller than other planets, but their density is also many times higher. The density of the objects on this planet is also many times higher, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming and the rest nodded. They had also thought of this. In such an environment, this planet was naturally dead silent. There were no living creatures. Everywhere they looked, there were bare rocks that emitted a metallic luster. Moreover, these rocks were fiery red, like pieces of rubies. Of course, if these rocks were placed in the mortal world, they would be treasures. But to Lu Ming and the rest, they were useless. Although this planet is much smaller than the planets outside, it's still shockingly large. I think it's better for us to split up. It'll be easier to find the formation plate that way. At this moment, the Paragon Saint said coldly. That's right, I think so too. Paragon Saint, let's work together. Fuxiko also said. Good, that's exactly what I want. The Paragon Saint smiled. Swoosh, swoosh. In a flash, Fuxiko, Saint Xixia, Saint Yang Kong, and Saint Ashuatan appeared beside the Paragon Saint. Their intentions were self-evident. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, let's compete and see who can get the formation plate. The Paragon Saint sneered. Then, he led Fuxiko and the rest away quickly. Lu Ming did not stop or say anything. The Paragon Saint's departure was exactly what Lu Ming wanted. Lu Ming could not be bothered to move together with the Paragon Saint. Even if they did not leave on their own accord, he would find a reason to. Only Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were left at the scene. The two of them discussed for a while, then randomly chose a direction and ran along the ground. The ground here was made of fiery red rocks. Some of them had already crystallized and were incomparably hard. Not even a blade of grass grew. The two of them ran for tens of thousands of li, but the situation was still the same. They didn't find anything. The two of them had no choice but to continue forward. They had no idea where the array plate was, so they could only try their luck in the dark. Just like that, a few hours passed, but there was still no result. There's something on the ground. At this time, Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He felt a slight vibration coming from beneath the ground. Bang! Just as Lu Ming's voice fell, the rocks on the ground exploded. Then, a fiery red light rushed towards Lu Ming. Boom! Without thinking, Lu Ming released his divine power and punched out, smashing into the fiery red light, causing a violent explosion. Then, the fiery red light was sent flying, smashing into the ground, creating a huge crater. There are actually living creatures here. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were stunned. At this moment, they could clearly see what the fiery red light was. It was a creature that looked extremely similar to a pangolin. Its entire body was covered in a layer of fiery red armor, and its two claws revealed ice-cold sharp claws. Squeak! The pangolin let out a squeak, its eyes looking at Lu Ming with burning greed. Flesh, flesh! The pangolin spoke, and its body flickered, charging at Lu Ming again. Bang! Lu Ming threw another punch, sending the pangolin creature flying and crashing onto the ground. However, the pangolin creature swayed its body and stood up again. What a strong defense! Lu Ming's eyes moved. He could see that this pangolin was roughly a first-layer heavenly god, but its defense was much stronger than other first-layer heavenly gods. An ordinary first-level celestial god would definitely be smashed into pieces by Lu Ming's punch. However, this pangolin living creature seemed to be fine after being hit by Lu Ming's two consecutive punches. Flesh, flesh! The pangolin let out a sharp cry, and pounced at Lu Ming again. This time, a spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he stabbed it out. Pu! The spear pierced through the pangolin's mouth. This time, the pangolin struggled for a bit before becoming motionless. It no longer had any signs of life. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the pangolin. The pangolin's scales were incomparably hard. If used to make armor, it would be difficult for anyone under the heavenly god realm to break through. There are actually living creatures on this planet. How wonderful! Ouyang Qingxiang exclaimed. I think it's the remaining living creatures on this planet. Lu Ming said. He speculated that this planet must have had many living creatures, but after the formation was set up, the stars gradually extinguished, and the environment changed greatly. Many living creatures went extinct, or left this place. However, some living creatures had extremely tenacious vitality, and might evolve as the environment changed, and stubbornly survived, such as this pangolin. The appearance of the pangolin made the two of them even more cautious. Since the pangolin could exist, there might be more living creatures, or even more terrifying ones. They had to be careful. The two withdrew their auras and continued in the same direction. Soon, they encountered another pangolin, but its strength was similar to the previous one. The two used their full strength and easily killed it. There are living creatures here, maybe they know the location of the formation plate. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes suddenly lit up. That's right, why didn't I think of that? Lu Ming's eyes also lit up. Thinking of this, the two of them felt a fire burning in their hearts. They continued to advance in this direction. Sure enough, not long after, they encountered the attacks of a few pangolins. The two of them heavily injured one of the pangolins, and killed the rest. Speak, do you know if there are any formation plates here? Lu Ming stepped on the pangolin's body and coldly asked. Flesh, flesh and blood. The pangolin constantly struggled, constantly roaring. It completely ignored Lu Ming's question. This kind of creature seems to have very low intelligence. It only knows how to devour flesh and blood. Ouyang Qingxiang frowned. Clearly, there were no other living creatures on this planet. These pangolins were extremely thirsty for flesh and blood, which was why they kept attacking Lu Ming's group. However, their intelligence was extremely low. Since their intelligence is low, let's soul-search them, Lu Ming said. He then cast the soul-searching technique and began to search his soul. Not long after, Lu Ming obtained some useful information from the pangolin's soul. Chapter 2896. The information in the soul of the pangolin was very scattered, but Lu Ming still managed to capture some useful information. At a certain location on this planet, there was a very strange place. Many pangolins lived there. There must be something fishy going on. Maybe that place has a formation badge. Even if there isn't a formation badge, it's worth a try if there are other treasures. Lu Ming thought. Lu Ming, did you find anything? Ouyang Qingxiang asked. Yes, there's something strange somewhere on the planet. Let's go take a look. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming immediately headed in a certain direction based on the information he had obtained from the soul of the pangolin. Along the way, they were constantly attacked by pangolins. In this direction, the number of pangolins seemed to be increasing. Luckily, the cultivation of the pangolins was not too high. Most of them were first-layer heaven gods. They did not encounter any second-layer heaven gods. Even though the first-layer heaven gods had strong defenses, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang did not feel any pressure. They proceeded forward. 2 days later, they arrived at a hill. From afar, the hill looked like giant rubies embedded in the ground, emitting a brilliant glow. From time to time, one could see pangolins crawling across the hills. According to the memory of the pangolins, the special place was at the center of the hill. Bang! Bang! At this moment, a series of rumbling sounds came from the depths of the hill. From afar, one could see beams of divine light shooting up into the sky, piercing through the firmament. Someone was fighting in the hill. Who is it? Could it be Supreme Universe and the others? Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes flickered. It's very likely that the pangolins are heading inside. Come, let's follow them, Lu Ming said. The pangolins in the hill immediately ran deeper into the hill after hearing the commotion. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang withdrew their auras and followed the pangolins. Not long after, they arrived deep inside the hill. Up ahead, there were 5 figures fighting against a group of pangolins. It really is them, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang glanced at each other. The 5 people fighting the pangolin were the Paragon Saint, Fuxiko, and the others. There were hundreds of pangolins attacking the Paragon Saint and the other 4. However, although there were many pangolins, their cultivation bases were not high. Most of them were first-layer heavenly gods. Only a few were second-layer heavenly gods. As for third-layer heavenly gods, there was not a single one. The 5 Paragon Saints had the upper hand. They continued to break out of the encirclement and rushed towards a hill. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's gazes also swept over that hill, and their eyes suddenly lit up. On top of the hill, there was an altar. It was not tall, only a meter or so. On the altar, runes were shining, and above the altar, there was a bronze token floating. Array plate. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's hearts stirred. It was very likely that this was the array plate they were looking for. They did not expect that there would really be an array plate here. They were in luck. One should know that there were only 12 of such array plates. Charge over, we must get this array plate. The Paragon Saint roared. At this moment, he had already transformed into the Paragon Diamond body. His body was huge, and his fists were constantly punching out. Every punch was able to send a pangolin flying. Some of them even exploded. Although the pangolins had strong defensive abilities, they could not withstand the Paragon Saint's all-out attack. Fuxiko and the others followed beside the Paragon Saint and attacked continuously. They quickly approached the altar. This array plate is mine. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Since he had encountered it, how could he let the Paragon Saint and the others get it? Let's go. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang moved and dashed toward the altar at high speed. Most of the pangolins were attacking the Paragon Saint and the others. They did not notice Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang at all. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were almost unobstructed. Only a few pangolins attacked them, but they were easily sent flying. They quickly approached the altar. Lu Ming. The Paragon Saint also noticed Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang and let out a furious roar. Especially when he saw Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang quickly approaching the altar, his anger soared to the heavens. Don't even think about it. The Paragon Saint roared. He ignored his own defense and allowed the attacks of the pangolins to land on his body. He madly rushed towards the altar. As a result, his speed was indeed much faster. But compared to Lu Ming, he was still a little slower. Soon, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were less than a kilometer away from the altar. At this time, most of the pangolins were finally alerted. Many of them charged towards Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Green Lotus Sword Song. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. With a wave of her hand, numerous green lotuses appeared around her. Boundless sword chi shot out, aiming for the pangolin's mouth and eyes, as well as other vital points. Immediately, quite a few pangolins were killed. Ancient God Body. Lu Ming directly used the ancient god art, and his body rapidly grew. He turned into a 200-meter-tall azure-armored ancient god. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming brandished his long spear and swept away more than 10 pangolins in an instant. Lu Ming strode forward. With just a few steps, he arrived near the altar. His spear shook, sending the pangolins flying. Then he reached out a hand to grab the formation plate. Lu Ming, you dare! The Paragon Saint roared and madly attacked, but he was still a step too slow. Lu Ming grabbed the formation plate. There was nothing strange. Lu Ming grabbed the formation plate. Lu Ming, I was the one who found the formation plate first. Hand it over. The Paragon Saint roared and finally rushed over. He threw a punch at Lu Ming. The resplendent fist was like a golden sun, crushing down on Lu Ming. Its power was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming turned his hand back and fired a shot. Boom! Their attacks collided, and an earth-shattering explosion erupted. Rings of energy spread out in all directions, sending many of the pangolins flying. Bang! Bang! Their huge bodies swayed, and they both took a few steps back. Don't you know that those who saw it have a share? Moreover, you only saw it and didn't get it. Why can't I attack? Lu Ming sneered in response. Then you'll die. Supreme Divine Fist. The Paragon Saint roared, waving his fists toward Lu Ming. With a thought, Lu Ming put away the array card. He then brandished his long spear and charged toward the Paragon Saint. Roar! 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 In the battle, Lu Ming used the divine dragon aspect art. 3 huge 9-clawed dragon aspects appeared in the air and pounced at the Paragon Saint. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.